Also the DJ of the boombox of the baseball team, and bringing in all the momentum. Coach, welcome back to the show.
Thanks for having me on. I'm definitely not the DJ of that thing.
I heard it was your playlist. That's what I've been told.
I heard, yeah.
Yeah, no, I got Rocky IV soundtrack
Hey,
on mine.
that'll get you locked in right there. That'll fire you up. What a weekend! Congratulations, big weekend series. Y'all had a little bit of adversity on Sunday. Came through the adversity. You had the walk-off. Cade has been, we talked a little bit about him last week on the show. He has been one of my favorite players to watch, and he's been super clutch for y'all. And he is, obviously he came through again. Talk about a little bit more about what he means to this team. And then I want to get a little bit into the, baseball's a big momentum sport, right? So, it was 2-2, tight game, 8th inning happens, walk, error, gets there. Then you have bottom of the 8th, your best hitter, Dylan Cruz, at the plate on a 3-0 swing, laser to center field. Center fielder comes in, diving catch. Normally, and what kind of happened at some points this year is the momentum got crushed, right? Situation like that, you think, oh, this is our moment. Gervais came in, shut down top of the 9th, come in the bottom of the 9th, sets them up for the walk-off. Talk a little, that's a long-winded question, but talk a little bit about what Kade has meant to the team and then how awesome overcoming that momentum was.
Yeah, I mean, I've been saying since I've gotten here, I think Cade's one of the best players in the country. He somehow, some way hasn't gotten recognized by that, like with preseason and accolades and all that kind of stuff. But we're now into the season, and you can make an argument that there aren't very many players in college baseball that are more important to their team's success than Cade. I mean, he's such a clutch hitter. He's played really good defense at second base, particularly over the last month. He's a guy you want walking up to the plate in that situation. And once Jacob got a two-strike single, just kind of looked at him and I was like, hey, you know what you're looking for, get it and let's go for it. And he did. And it was awesome to see. Honestly, I wasn't really that surprised. It's almost like he's just got that clutch factor and you expect him to come through. Relative to the game, Dylan got a couple really good swings for us yesterday. We had a couple opportunities that we didn't score on. One, we had to run our third and one out, and Jordan hit the ball hard, just right back at the pitcher. You mentioned the one with Dylan where he had 3-0 green light, of course, after those 2 at-bats earlier in the game, and absolutely drilled that ball. It was a nice play by the center fielder. And then Paul came in and got us off the field quickly. And, we got a chance to get Barry on, and then Cade did his thing. And I think the key to that was we made him throw 38 pitches on Saturday. And so most guys won't come back when they throw that many. And maybe it was just a little bit flat, but those guys were loaded up, ready to hit, and both of them hit some shots for us. And just a great win. Proud of the team.
Yeah, I think people lose sight of that and through the course of a series. If you can, even if you're losing by 4, 5, 6 runs in a game, you string together a few good at bats, and you make them put their closer in a game, and a guy they're going to count on later on in the series, and you make them kind of waste some of the bullets. That comes back in at the back end of the series, and that's an advantage to you. Even though you may not win the game, you've gotten a leg up for the rubber match, and I think people kind of overlook that. Talk about how important. I think another thing people overlook is how important it is to get the guys back into the dugout after an inning like the bottom of the 8th, right? You said, Paul went out there and he had a really quick inning, got the guys in. They didn't even have time to think about the momentum going, right? They had to get back in there, and then they just felt like the momentum was never lost. Talk about how important that is in a baseball game.
Yeah, I mean, both those things. And that was part of the decision-making for me on Saturday. I mean, we're sitting there and we're facing one of the best pitchers in the country, and our guys did a good job against him. I mean, we got some really good swings on him and got the lead. And when we did that, it was like, hey, man, I'm going for it. If these guys are going to take these types of at-bats off a first-round draft pick, there's no way we're not going to try to do it. And then we kind of got to this weird spot in like the 6th where we were down by 2. And you didn't want to, go to Breselman and Gervais and Cooper. I brought Cooper in to see if we could stem the tide there. It was 6-4. we got this weird spot where I know we can score quickly, but like you don't want to burn anybody. But my thought was we have to keep them close enough for Woods and Gowan to get in the game, and we got 38 out of Woods and 40 out of Gowan, which helped us out on Sunday. So that was a big deal. And these SEC games against really good teams, I mean, every pitch of every inning of every game really matters. You cannot take a pitch off. I talk about that with Coach Kelly all the time when he's calling pitches, like, hey man, like just make sure we're right here. It's not one of those where it's like, okay, we're just going to groove a fastball and go. That could cost you a game. And I'm really proud of our guys. We're 9-5 in games decided by 2 runs or less. That was a big point of emphasis going into the season. I think they were like 7-14 or 7-16 last year in those games. And I think it's showing some of their toughness. It's showing the good work by the bullpen and the offense just kind of staying with it.
Coach, can you talk about it? We're talking about the momentum of the weekend and how the weekend went. Can you talk about heading into the last month of the regular season, once again, the momentum? Can you sense a feeling of the guys starting to understand how important it is to be playing really good ball, close to your best ball, heading into that last part of the season?
Yeah, I think, I really have tried since I got here to get them to treat every game like it's the Super Bowl. And like every game is a playoff game. And so in that sense, I think we're prepared for it because even though maybe we haven't played like that, that's how we've tried to approach it, which is why we use, our bullpen guys. When there's a chance to go get a win, you get a win. You don't worry about tomorrow. So in that sense, I think it's really good. Like you're not attaching anything different to the last month of the season. With that being said, I think we have a little better feeling of what our team is and what we can do. I think that was a huge confidence builder, obviously coming from behind. I think Saturday in its own weird way was a huge confidence builder to take those quality at bats against those pitchers that Georgia ran out there and put up 7 runs to win that series, to sweep Missouri the weekend before in 3 tight games. And I think they know that they can be successful. And I think we're getting a better understanding. They're getting a better understanding of what they need to do to win those types of games. And then just all the focus goes into those details and you don't get caught up on what's going on the outside or you have to win this many and that. Because honestly, it's fun to talk about on these shows, but to the players, it's just a distraction. And we're not good enough to afford being distracted.
Coach, we talked a lot about how good the bullpen has been and then how good your young starters have been, or really the piggyback on Sunday. Blake Money is your Saturday guy, and he has kind of allowed, or he has the last few times the bullpen has to come in and pitch extended innings. How important how awesome was Dutton on Sunday, going 4 2/3 and kind of extending that part of the game for you and allowing you to save some of the bullets for later on in the game?
Yeah, huge. Georgia's at-bats on Saturday were really impressive. I mean, 6 home runs in one game. Yeah. On a day game here that's impressive. And so we just had to find a way to keep them off the barrel. And if you looked at it from a matchup standpoint, going into Sunday's game, I didn't think it particularly looked great for us, on both sides of the ball. So we had to come up with a plan.
Don't say that, Coach. I had a money line. I was riding with the boys. Let's go.
I look at everything. It's probably too
minus 180.
Friday and Saturday. Just kind of looking at the games. Who could get them off the barrel? Had to be able to mix. They definitely could hit fastballs. They absolutely destroyed like 4 breaking balls that were left up in the zone on Saturday, and we just thought Sam could throw 3 pitches for strikes. He was fresh because he had only thrown an inning and 2/3 the week before. Was really competitive, wanted to get out there and have a little bit better outing. So for him to get that deep into the game was a big deal. Grant coming in and getting an out with a runner on second base, and then Devin Fontenot, first pitch double play, strikeout. Got 3 innings that we desperately needed. I mean, the only mistake he made in the game was the pickoff. Other than that, he was phenomenal, which was huge. And then Paul coming in for an inning, and that's just kind of how we're built. It's like it's not going to be, unfortunately, the Max Scherzer, 7 innings, turn it over to the 8th inning guy, 9th inning guy. We got to piece it together, and all those guys did a really good job. I mean, to hold those guys to 4 hits yesterday after giving up 12 runs and 6 home runs the day before, great job by our pitching staff.
Coach, in baseball, it's individually it's a tough sport. It's a game of failure. Not just at the plate, but obviously defensively or on the mound. And coming into the season, Blake Money was your Friday night guy. He struggled a little bit. He kind of went through a little bit of an injury, struggled a little bit. Is a Saturday guy. And the last few weekends, it just seems like he hasn't been able to kind of get in a rhythm and get things going. What do you see from him, and what do you look forward going forward with him to kind of, because you would think that you would need that number 2 starter going into the postseason to kind of give you a little bit of extended innings. How have you approached that, and have you had any conversations?
Yeah, I mean, we need some innings out of him, whether it's going to continue to be at the front of a game or not. I don't know. We haven't decided that just yet. I think for me, what I'm looking for and what almost all of them have done this year is they're prepared when they come in the game, whether that's the first inning or coming out of the bullpen to get after it and compete. And that first inning's tricky because you're facing the best hitters on the other team. And, we walked the first guy, and then Corey Acton had a heck of a weekend against us. A line drive home run, the second AB, and we're down 2-0. And when you're facing a guy like Cannon, there's not a lot of margin for error. Right. And so for me, it's just you got to come out ready and you got to come out and execute. He certainly has the stuff to do that. I mean, it's a fastball up to 94. We'll touch 95. He's got 2 other pitches. We just need those pitches thrown with conviction. And really he's gotten beat by home runs. And I think that's just about pitching down in the zone and command. So we got to get him back to, the first 3 weeks of the year, not just in terms of like the stats or the numbers, just executing pitches with intent and conviction. And he can get innings for us. And we probably get a couple of us every weekend. And we may just need to shuffle the deck on what that looks like.
So have you had conversations with him about going to the pen? Like, has that been a
No.
Okay,
My conversation with him, the last conversation I had is when I went out to the mound in the first inning. I was like, "Look, dude, like we can't do this right now. Like you gotta get on. You gotta get on this right now." No, I said,
Jesus Lord.
Sorry, excuse Floyd over there.
Oh my God.
somebody put that guy in timeout.
Bring me to the pit.
You said it. We've been thinking it.
Yeah, we just needed conviction and competitiveness, and it got us a double play. So that was good. Yep. And then we came out, we got a couple guys on, gave up a run in the second, and then once we threw up that 4 spot against Cannon, I made a decision to go with Hasty because if we were going to compete against that caliber of pitcher that way, we needed every chance to win the game, and I thought making a move right there was the right thing.
Speaking of Hasty, this week for him was awesome. He went in midweek, threw really well, came in on Saturday, threw really well. Is his role going to expand, and is it going to change as the season goes on?
I'm really proud of him. I mean, he didn't pitch in the first 28 games of the season, and frankly, he just wasn't very good in all of fall baseball, January and February leading up to the season. And, we're first-year staff. Like, that's all we have to go on. But we needed some left-handed help, especially with Coleman going down. Cooper was really our only guy, so we got him in against Grambling, and the stuff looked good. And then we were behind at Arkansas. It was a good chance to get him in there. Liked how he executed there, so we're just going to keep giving him opportunities, and he'll be a key factor in what we're doing as we're moving down the stretch here.
That Dylan Cruz guy, he's okay at baseball, I think, huh? He's not too bad.
It's unreal. I like talking about him as a person because I mean, if anybody could walk in the park and go like, that dude is special, like especially after a game. Like yesterday, but we're in a hitters meeting showing video of the starter, and I'm kind of walking through what we're going to do and what our plan is. And I mean, he's full on eye contact and nodding his head. I was like, this dude's locked in. Like, I don't know that I'd have predicted 2 home runs and an absolute bullet with the game on the line, right. But I knew he was ready to roll. And, that's what you get on a daily basis. I mean, it's just the reliability of the person with that kind of talent. That's what future major leaguers and future major league all-stars look like, and that's exactly where he's headed.
I know there were a couple question marks going into the season about how if he was going to be able to handle the transition to center field. He seems like he's awesome out there. He seems that his routes are great, his jumps are great, and he seems like he's in full control in center field, which is what you want, obviously up the middle of the field. But I know there was a question going in. Have you seen that? Is that something that has been obvious. Obviously, his development as an outfielder.
Yeah, absolutely. There's a couple reasons we're doing that. I haven't even thought about it, and it's almost like the catcher thing. Like he's doing a good job if you don't even have to think about it. I think he's great at going back on balls. He's communicating well with the corner outfielders. He's got a terrific throwing arm, and I don't know who the best center fielder in the big leagues is right now. I mean, I don't know if he's that, but he's more than adequate to be one of the best ones in college baseball. And it's why he's going to be a top 1, 2, 3 pick next year. I mean, just the defense, the offense.
I have him going 1-1 next year. That's why.
Anybody that would ask me, that's what I would say too.
Yeah.
Just he does so many things well, and just you can bet on it easily because the character and the makeup are exactly the way they should be.
I want to talk a little bit about a guy that not many people are talking about, and they probably aren't really talking much about him, but I feel like this play was a monumental play on Sunday. Bianco, right? He comes out there in left field, and there's guys in scoring position. Guy hits a ball over his head, hits it pretty well. He goes back on it, and he just seems like he has zero regard for his body, because I've seen him dive over the mountain of a bullpen mound you have, and then he jumps into the fence and he comes off the field, makes a big play, saves a couple runs. How important is the leadership off the bench that he brings to the team? He's been there for a while. He's a son of a coach. He's lived, breathed LSU basically from his dad, and now he's been here. Talking here.